Right. Today we have Dave Wilson, the creator and founder of Razor's Edge Bloodline. First, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with Zed Pitts today. First question: what inspired you to want to create a new style of pit bull?
What inspired me really, it wasn't a plan or anything done like that. It was more, I got infatuated with the breed, and I went through different levels of the breed. I started with the original pit bulls are true, the game dogs, and then I got into the Amstaffs, and eventually I wound up with the American Pit Bull Terrier, the show lines, more the UKC stuff. And it wasn't a design that I had set out to do. It was just that I couldn't ever really find the ultimate dog for what I was looking for. So what I decided to do at some point in time is, after years of searching for the perfect dog, which I couldn't find, a lot of breeders wouldn't sell you their best anyway, so it was almost impossible to get. I just finally got to the point where I figured, you know what, let me try to create it and start with something that was a solid foundation. So I started with a certain bloodline from a certain breeder that had good body types that I liked. And then I decided just to add in pieces as I was going on, changing the head types, adding more rear, and piecing together a dog. So originally when I did it, it wasn't my intent at all. It's just that I couldn't find exactly what I like, and I'm a perfectionist. And when I get into something, I dive into it all the way. So, and I'm obsessive with it. So I got to the point where I had to just figure out what I liked, and then I had to figure out how to create that. So again, it wasn't something I set out to do. It was just something that happened because I couldn't find what I was looking for, and I just set out to make it myself after that. And it took me about 7 or 8 years to get that look I was looking for.
What was the dog that made you say, "I now have the look I'm searching for"?
The first dog that, well, it's two different things. The first, it was a litter. It was when I bred Razor's Edge Forever Junior to Rage. When I bred Junior to Rage, I finally got a litter of dogs that was a consistent look. My first key was consistency. I wanted to be able to create the look I wanted, but have it reproduced in a consistent way to where all the dogs look the same. So that was the first litter that I had that did it. And the dog that I really liked the best out of that was a dog named Easy. Razor's Edge Welcome to the Edge. The main female I kept out of that was a dog named Tequila Sunrise. We called her Tiki. So that litter was the first litter where I had achieved that goal that made me say that. Now, the dog that I created that gave me the ultimate look was Cairo. Once Cairo was created, that was basically me saying, I'm done. I've got exactly what I've been looking for in the ultimate dog, and this was the accomplishment that I've been looking for all these years and striving for. So, Rage and Junior's litter was the litter that did that. Cairo was the dog that did that. That was the ultimate dog for me for what Razor's Edge was meant to be.
With that being said, the breeding between Champion, Clovis Hill, Walker Spirit to Pennington, would you say that was your most legendary breeding since it created Purple Rose of Cairo?
I wouldn't say it was my most legendary breeding, because that was an outcross. That was one of those type of breedings that when I did the breeding, it was time for me to introduce something new. And Paco, Watuka Spirit, they call him Paco, I used him because he had size, but I wanted the look of the mom, Paddington. Paddington to me was the ultimate female. I loved the way she looked, so I wanted her look with a little more bulk. So I used Paco for that breeding, knowing that I was going to get inconsistency, because when you do an outcross, you're scattering your blood. So for me, it wasn't the ultimate litter for that at all. It produced the ultimate dog, in my opinion, but not the ultimate litter. And to go further on that is that dog Cairo was the ultimate look for me. As far as breeding wise, he wouldn't have been the ultimate dog for me, because he wouldn't have thrown the consistency of a tighter bred dog. So it's hard to say, but no, I don't think that was the ultimate litter for me at all. I just think that particular litter threw a dog that was exactly what I was striving to, but I also threw a lot of dogs that favored Paco, and that wasn't the look that I wanted. I didn't want that Paco look. I wanted the Paddington look, and I got 50-50.
In your opinion, what is Razor's Edge's best breeding combination in its history?
Rage and Junior.
Rage and Junior.
Yeah. There's a lot of combos. A lot of dogs that, I placed or sold to people, like Daz and Jules, Dozer Daisy, what's another good one? Blue and Sage, and like a lot of those combos people know, and they went in their own directions and their own spawns of Razor's Edge. They were good combinations, but they were all line-bred Razor's Edge dogs. The best combination ever was, Rage and Junior. I think that was by far, that was the one breeding that set me apart and set my look out, and gave a consistent look with Razor's Edge.
Where did the name Razor's Edge come from?
I started with game dogs, and back where I used to live in Maryland, I couldn't keep a lot of them, so I placed them with a lot, different people. and I had a friend named Carlos Barksdale that I played some dogs with, and me and Carlos, we had an apartment together later on in life, and man, we were just sitting around one day just trying to figure out the name, and I ran through name after name after name, and then all of a sudden Carlos just out of nowhere, and the guy that doesn't even speak that much, just out of nowhere just said, what about razor's edge? You could say your dogs are cut like a razor's edge, like the muscle tone. And I was like, man, as soon as he said it, I was like, that's it, you got it right there, and it just stuck. So it just had that powerful feel to it.
20 years later, what's the direction of Razor's Edge?
It's hard to say because I've gone through so many changes. When Cairo was produced, Razor's Edge was done. That was it. The line continued on through the hands of other people. Got back into it with a partner, and we did some things. Me and Cruz did some things over the years, and kind of just kept a consistent look, running off a little row, and Rizzy and that, token Razor's Edge look. Now, I've been out of it for a while because I've been dealing with a lot of other things. I've been working on the bully world and just trying to promote the bullies all together, and the ABKC, Atomic Dog, different things. But the way the world is going right now, to me, it's going in the wrong direction with a lot of dogs that aren't what I consider good dogs, exotics and mixed breeds and all these different things. So I want to produce some dogs that take it back to where it began, that powerful look, that's still a bully look, but athletic. Dogs that live 15, 16 years. So the direction now for Razor's Edge is to actually take a step back in time and start reproducing those good, sound quality dogs.
With Razor's Edge now being a global brand, how many countries have Razor's Edge dogs? Wow.
I can tell you that, man, because I've been all over the world. I just got back from Asia, and in Asia alone, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, China, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia. That's pretty much all of Asia, and every one of those countries I visited have Razor's Edge dogs. So that's just Asia. So same in Europe. I would say that more than 50% of the countries in the world have Razor's Edge dogs. I would say for sure, because all of them in Asia do, and most of them in Europe do, and obviously North America and South America.
Would you say that's your two biggest markets outside the U.S.?
Hard to say. There's a lot of dogs in South America. Mexico's huge. It's hard to say. Asia, Thailand was the main hub there, and in Europe, I'd say Holland was probably the main hub there, but you can't say that anymore, so it's hard to say. It's taken worldwide. So,
how is the bully community perceived in other countries as compared to the U.S.?
Well, overall, it's perceived in a very positive light. It's actually bigger overseas than we realize it here. When we go overseas and we meet the people that follow this, they're diehards. They're in it. They're not in it like in America. You have separation and all kinds of weird things because it was created here. Over there they don't even look at it like that. Over here you still have people that fight the pit bull, the bully. They do all these different things. Over there it's American bully. So when you go overseas and just see the way that they support the breed and the way they look at us as Americans for the breed, it's unbelievable. It's an overwhelming support over there. It's a humbling thing when you go to see this, but it's taken well over there, and they love it. It's like, to them it's truly a culture, and they've embraced that culture in ways that we haven't even really understood here.
Wow. Why do you think there's so much opposition from the American Pit Bull Terrier owners about our breed when the bully world helps with their fight with BSL, Pit Bull rescues, and etc.?
That's a hard one because the true Pit Bull people are going to look at this as being a different breed. And in actuality, over the years and the changes it's gone through, it is a different breed. I never quite understand all this because a lot of them, it's a catch-22. Some are for it, some are against it, and it's like, I can use myself as an example. Me being in this breed all the years, I was attacked by the Pit Bull people originally. You're ruining the breed, you're ruining the breed, you're ruining the breed by changing it. At the same regard, I got the same crowds tell me, oh, it's a different breed, your dog should be called something else, they're this. Then we change the name and we separate ourselves from that world. You get half of them that like it, or then the other half's like, oh, well, why do you abandon this and you're promoting this, but you should be respecting your original dog. So the original Pit Bulls and fighting for that, it's just weird, man. It's hard to say. Some of them like the idea that we took it a different direction and named it the other. Some of it think that we've discredited it, and it's really hard to say. In my opinion, we didn't do anything different than they did with the Amstaff. We didn't do anything different than they did with the UKC, American Pit Bull Terrier. Those show dogs are not the game dogs. You know, they took it their own direction. They kept the name, but it's definitely almost a completely different breed than the original pit bull. You know, the AKC, they took the Amstaff. They went and named it their own thing, and they got respect for it. So, in my opinion, we didn't do anything different than anybody else. It's just we just went a different direction, bred for a different purpose, you know. And I think we're doing good because we took out some of the characteristics of the dog fighting purpose of the breed, the animal aggression in it, you know, and we changed that style of it, and we changed the name. So I don't think we've done anything different. We give a lot of respect back to where our dogs came from. I mean, they come from 100% pure pit bull blood, but I mean, it's a different look, it's a different direction, it's a different temperament. So in my opinion, we did it in a respectful way. It's hard. I mean, you can have mixed beliefs on that.
Where did the name American Bully come from?
Back in, I'd say, the early 90s, we had the MSM boards, and we had a board there called the Elite Edge board. And on the Elite Edge board, we had started all calling our dogs bullies. We started just giving them that kind of nickname, the bullies, because they were a bullier style of dog. I mean, Razor's Edge, I've been promoting that term, since the late 80s, you know, the fact that it's a bullier dog, you know, putting a bull back in terrier, just things like that. It's just like to try to get that feel. We bred for the bullier traits. So over the years, the name kind of morphed into the bullies. It's just a slang name. And on the Elite Edge board, everybody was calling their dog bullies. One day we had a debate on the Elite Edge board, and I came out there and I said, look, why don't we just, you know, call them American bullies? I said, it's an American breed. We can remove the pit bull part of it because the dog's no longer, you know, used for pit fighting. We're already calling them bullies, so let's just put the American back on it. And a lot of the people, you know, it's a big debate on that board, and the EE supported, the Elite Edge kind of supported that. So we just decided to take a stand then and say, you know what, we're going to call our dogs American bullies. Whether you like it or you don't like it, we're going to do that. So the Elite Edge as a whole started calling our dogs American bullies. We started advertising that. We started the ABKC was formed to give validity to that. So that's where it all started. And then a lot of people supported it and jumped on board. And it was about 4 or 5 years of people not liking it and debating it. But after a while, it stuck, you know.
Question. Is it still fun for you, like in the beginning when it was just backyard barbecues, hanging out, just talking dogs?
Back then, it was 100% fun. And back then, I liked the fight because the fight back then was a fight against people who didn't understand. It was a fight to bring respect to a breed. It was a fight to bring respect to people that people look down upon. You know, it was a fight against discrimination. So back then, it was something that I really felt powerful about because it was a good fight, you know, and it's something that I truly believed in and I fought for. So there was a lot of, and then the camaraderie of everybody was new and it's fresh, and we were the underdog and we were the minority, and there's a lot of things, so we stuck together, you know, and it was a good time, and we traveled and we met people and we made friends. So that part of it was a lot of fun. Nowadays, it's not as much fun because now there's internal drama, there's internal competition, I mean, it goes on and on and on, all the things that happen internally, but people have made it not fun. They've brought drama into it, they've brought negativity into it, they've brought all these bad elements to it, just egos, greed, money, and so that side of it has kind of disgusted me a lot lately. I still have fun, but my fun is more that when I'm meeting somebody new, when I'm just going to a show and I meet people that don't know all the internal things that have gone wrong with the people inside the bully world. Those people just see the bully, come to an event, see all these people having fun, and they're coming out the first time with their family like, oh, I love this. That's when I have fun. Or when I travel, when I go overseas, and it's like these people are just, you know, overtaken by this, and they're just in love with it, you know. So that's why I have a lot of fun. Overseas, I love it because it's new to them. The dog shows, the people that are new, that are just getting into it, I have a lot of fun with them. But overall, as far as the bully world, no, it's nowhere near as fun as it was. It's so just a lot of sick people now, and a lot of negativity thrown around in it.
With Razor's Edge starting on the East Coast, how did it make its way out west to the West Coast?
Razor's Edge hit the West Coast 2 ways. First, it hit the West Coast because out here on the East Coast, when I was competing UKC, we didn't have big shows. And I would go to a lot of these shows and do very well at these shows, but I could never really compete in that top 10 because they were based on how many dogs you beat at a show. The West Coast was dominating in those days. They had big shows, and every single weekend, where out here you had to travel from Massachusetts to Florida, you know, it was a long trip, you know. So my goal then was, when I started producing Razor's Edge dogs for the show, I wanted to flood that market out in California. I wanted to send dogs out that way so Razor's Edge dogs could compete with the big names at that time, Lorem, Gap. I mean, there was a bunch of different things at the time out there. So that was my intention, was to get those dogs out there. And what happened is when those dogs got there, some competed and did very well, but for some reason in California, like they just grew a following for these dogs, and quickly. And when I flew out there to a UKC show, I was just overwhelmed at the amount of people that had Razor's Edge dogs out there that weren't showing, that were just fans of it, you know. So that's how it got to the West Coast. I think Razor's Edge got popular in the West Coast when me and my partner Cruz combined together. It started running a kennel out in California, out by him, and producing Razor's Edge dogs in California. That helped the line continue on and get bigger in California. But it was both different things. But that was more for the bully world. The other side was more for when I was trying to compete, you know, in the show world.
How did the group Elite Edge come about?
The group Elite Edge was actually, it was me, Cruz, and Danny Gaddis from Kentucky. And one day we were just sitting here and we just came up with this concept that, you know, what if we create a group with people from different regions, and that this group works together to help promote this breed and promote different things from shows, and that way you have family and friends in different areas. So we just came up with this concept here, and in the beginning it was just us three. And then that's when we decided, okay, well, now we need to find people in other states and we can get together. And it was, the whole concept of Elite Edge wasn't what people think it was. It wasn't to be a dominating group that dictated and did all these things. It was something that was created to help promote the breed. And to be honest with you, if we didn't do that, the breed wouldn't be where it is today. Because what the Elite Edge did is we took it to another level. We had this concept of going out there and promoting the breed in places that the breed wasn't already existing. Advertisements, we would run ads in Lowrider magazine, we would run ads in Dub magazine. Never before were dog breeders doing this. We were going to dub shows, car shows, places like this, setting up booths, pet expos, setting up booths promoting this breed in the American Bully. And what we did is we reached a market outside of the small little market that we had inside the bully world that existed there. And we promoted the breed in a positive light, and that was our goal, to promote it in a positive way, but into a market that the breed didn't exist, and introduce new people to it. So the Elite Edge was essential in the American Bully. I mean, it was essential in naming it, it was essential in starting the registry that validated it, and it was essential in the marketing aspect of it, to where we put it out there in places where it didn't exist and brought in new people. And the Elite Edge became almost not just a group of breeders, but it became like a cultural type movement where people followed the lifestyle. And all we did, we just go from state to state, have a good time, and just show people a good time, and just show them something fun with the breed and people. And it just became something that people were attracted to. So it was never designed to be one of these things I hear all this slander about, oh, this, and they control this. No, it's just we started a message board. We started a registry. We did these ads, and it wasn't for us. It was for the breed, and it worked. That's why the breed grew the way it did. If we didn't do these things, it wouldn't have grown like the way it did, you know? So it was never designed for the members of the Elite Edge. It was designed for the breed. It's just you needed a group of people across the globe to do that with, and that's what the Elite Edge did.
What sparked the move to create the ABKC?
Two things. The first is that when I went out to California, and I think people forget this, is that when I went out there, we didn't have a home, like for our dogs. UKC was my home. That's where Razor's Edge started. But when I went out to California, I went to a UKC show, and when I went out there, they were attacking, some people in the UKC were attacking a guy that had Razor's Edge dogs. And I came out there to defend him. I said, look, you know what, they said they weren't show dogs. So I went out to California to compete against those people. And when I got out there, I saw this following. And when I got there was probably about 40, 50 people with Razor's Edge dogs, and they came to meet me. They weren't patrons, they were patrons, but they weren't competitors in the show, but they all had UKC registered dogs. So they got there and they set up a tent, and there was about 40 of them, and it was off to the side, and the host of the show wanted them removed. So I came to the host of the show, like, why do you want these people removed? They're like, you know what, they're not showing their dogs. I said, but it's a park, it's public, they're UKC, they're trying to come out and do something positive with their dogs. I said, they're not disrupting anything, their tent's over there, everybody's quiet, they're spectators, they're like, yeah, but Dave, the one guy told me, Dave, you don't understand, you're not from out here. A lot of these guys are looked at as gangsters, and we don't want that type of look at our show. And I'm like, what do you care like people look like? They're not here, they're not gangbanging or doing anything like that. They're here with their dogs. Some of them got their kids. It's like, they're just here they just want something to do with their dogs. You guys are gonna turn them away? And I fought with the host, and ended up the judge that day came over and helped me, and he's like, look, I'll help you out. Let's pretend like we're giving them a little training class and all this stuff. So he did, and they ended up letting the people stay, but they're real ugly about it. The next time I came out was probably 2 months later to another show. Same thing happened. I was at a park, and it was like off to one side was UKC show, off to the other side of the park was a bunch of people barbecuing with their dogs, and same scenario, except this time they called the police and had these people escorted out of the park. And not even escorted. I mean, they were removed like convicts. The police came, and they came deep too, you know, and they removed all kinds of people. And I was with Cruz at the time, and I went back to the host of that show, and I got the same answer. And it was like, Dave, you don't understand. Look at these people. You know, like, we don't want these type of people at our events. And they told me, you're welcome, but they're not. And I like, you know, that pissed me off. That I was like, I'm welcome, but they're not. I said, well, these people are friends of mine. They're just out here doing something positive. You don't like them because of the way they look. I said, but they're out here doing something positive. At that time, and I seen them get removed like that, that was the end for me. That was when I stood up and said, you know what? I can't support this anymore because of the way they're treating people. And I won't do that, you know. So when I got back, I talked to Cruz, and I was like, you know what? We're doing the American Bully thing. We need to do something now for the people. We need to start a registry now that will help support this. So that's when we came up with the concept. Let's put the ABKC together to support the American Bully. It was never designed to be a profitable, money-making company or anything like that. The whole concept was to validate the breed. If we say, this is the American Bully, this is the registry, now we have our own shows. And we'll throw our own events all over. And our events will be open to everybody. There'll be a lax type environment at first, to where people feel comfortable coming out, you know. And that was the concept, to invite people in, get people come, you know, just have people come out with their dogs and do something, compete, but do something positive in a way that they weren't discriminated against, you know. So that was the concept of the Elite Edge. the ABKC. But then we put down criteria, grew, you know, like, okay, well, what dogs are we going to accept as American Bullies? What's the criteria to be an American Bully? And that's when I sat down and we wrote the standard, we wrote the guidelines, you know, what dogs were eligible to be American Bullies or American Bully breeding stock, you know, what bloodlines they have to have or percentages of, etc. And then we started the shows, and the idea of the shows was to make it comfortable. Like, a lot of people now, if you look back on those days, it was different. Now it's competitive. Now it's professional. But then it wasn't. It wasn't meant to be at that point in time. It was just meant to get people used to doing something with their dogs and put them in a good, fun environment where they'd have a good time. And that's all the ABKC was really for, just to validate the breed and to give the people an avenue and a way to promote their dogs and have a good time. And that's all it was.
Just looking back over these past 20 years, did you ever think American Bully would be where it is today, you know, with the worldwide exposure, magazines, DVDs, shows, basically just being its own economy?
No. If I look back, I would have never imagined that. Because you got to think, in my mind, I didn't set out for the American Bully. I set out for Razor's Edge, you know. So all of these things a lot of these things happened because we had to. You know, we were forced to do different things. You know, we had to create a world for ourselves. So if I look back then, I never in a million years would have thought it would be where it is today. However, a couple years ago, looking at it, I was proud. Man, I stood back, I was like, this is unbelievable. Just to go to an event and just to see the diversity of people and it's like a melting pot of people and just this one ultimate breed of dog, and like everything's in harmony. People getting along, the dogs getting along, people you would never see coming together, just becoming friends and doing all this just out of love and respect for the breed. So a couple years ago, I look back like, man, I'm just proud of this. Like, you know, like I couldn't believe it. But now when I look back, it's getting worse because now there's like all these other elements have thrown into it right now. So no, years ago, I would have never expected to get this big. And now that I look at it, I'm still confused on what it is going to be and where it's going to go, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, how it brings people together, because just thinking about it myself, I've talked to people on the West Coast for years who I've never even met in person, and I feel like they, you know, a friend of mine, just talking dogs for hours and hours at a time, just about the breed itself. So it does bring all background, ages, and cultures together.
Everything, man. It brings people together to where they're just people. That's what I like about it. People don't care about all the other hang-ups people have in life. They're dropped there because it's just one of these things that just brings you together as people out of respect for their dogs. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it's done the way it was intended to be done, you know. So.
In the future, do you think you ever see the bully shows on TV like Westminster?
I think we'll see the bully shows on TV. We already have.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, Pitbulls and Parolees did a whole episode on the Razor's Edge 20-year anniversary, so it's been featured on Animal Planet. There's been elements of it featured other places. I think it'll be on TV. I've been working real hard to get that promotion for it. The thing about it is I don't think you'll ever see it on there like a Westminster, because Westminster's a different type of event. Our events are different than those. Our events are more fun. I mean, to be honest with you. They're professional, but they're more fun. It's more of a culture type thing in in with the dog show. It's a combination. When you go to our shows, you got music, vendors, just all kinds of stuff. It's like something fun. So it's going to be hard to see it on a show like that, but I think it's going to be on a show more where it shows the broader aspect of who we are and what we do. I mean, it's only a matter of time, and we're growing. We're a market. I mean, we're everywhere. I mean, on the internet, we're everywhere. So one of these networks sooner or later is going to pick it up. I mean, they got to, or they're going to miss the boat.
How did the sponsorship with Eukanuba come about?
I've been feeding Eukanuba since I started. Raised Edge was created on Eukanuba, let's put it like that. Since the late 80s, I've been feeding Eukanuba. I managed pet stores for many years. So in my pet stores, Eukanuba is always a food feature. I've always had a relationship with Eukanuba since being in town. I love their food. The Premium Performance, that's the food that I've always used on my dogs. So I've had a good rapport and relationship with them for many years. They got interested in the American Bully. Actually, I met a guy named Evan down in Florida years ago. I invited Eukanuba to come out to the first show that the ABKC ever threw, which I think was the fall of 2004. I was in Orlando, Florida. But anyway, I had Eukanuba come out there and set up a booth, and they showed interest in it. They saw this crowd of people, and they liked it because it's something different, And another guy out in California, Kerry Morgan, who had been going to some shows, and he works for Eukanuba. And through Evan and Kerry Morgan, we developed a relationship, and they introduced us to the corporate office of Eukanuba, and Eukanuba realized that they're good food for this breed, and this is a big growing breed. And this breed is primarily, my line was created on Eukanuba. So the relationship developed because Eukanuba saw an interest in this breed, and Eukanuba took an interest in the crowds. Like, they liked the idea that this was a diverse market, and like all the negative stereotypes, where we were dispelling all those things, and they liked that. So they got involved, and they like the breed. They think it's a beautiful breed. So they got to the point where they're involved in sponsorships on like Atomic Dog magazine and advertising in Atomic Dog. We have a feature in Atomic Dog with their vet, Dr. Mori, that comes on and does updates and health things on the breed. So Eukanuba and ABKC and Atomic Dog, we've had a relationship for quite a few years now, and it's just it's a good partnership. And it's good for the breed because that's the first time that we've ever had a corporate sponsor backing us, meaning us, the Bully World, and us, the American Bully breed, And that's a big thing for us to have a corporate sponsor. That's corporate America showing interest in us. Before, we were outcasts, you know what I mean? And this breed was an outcasted breed. Now, we have the support of corporate America. So it's something that I'm happy to have, and we need to embrace that. We need to make sure we continue on a positive, movement, because the second we break our positive movement and we go the other way, we're going to lose that support. We're going to lose the support of the people that maybe once upon a time, were against us,
Why do you think it's important to fight BSL? And just to follow up with that, are there lobbyists for the breed on Capitol Hill?
Okay. BSL, you have to fight BSL number one if you want this breed, because they're trying to oust your breed. You have to stand up for your breed. But the biggest reason to fight BSL because of discrimination. I know some people say, it's dogs and not people. Yes and no. I mean, yes, it is dogs and not people, but it's still discrimination. It's one of these things that in my mind is truly unconstitutional. I mean, you look at a breed, there's nothing to prove or state that this is a dangerous breed. We remove the dangerous elements of the breed anyway, but statistically, there's nothing there. I'll give you Maryland, for instance. Maryland just passed this law that we're fighting right now, and yes, we do have lobbyists. I'm going to be a speaker soon. I have an attorney that we're working with right now, actually, and there's a committee in Maryland fighting this law. But the thing about it is, you got to think about it is, just look at it like this. If you take the amount of American Pit Bull Terriers registered in the state of Maryland, which is probably half of the, or less than half of the actual pit bulls in the dog, there's a lot of unregistered dogs. But you take that amount of dogs, and then for 1 year in Maryland, you compare the amount of dog bites per that breed. However many pit bulls they deem dangerous, through animal control in that state for that year. You do the math. You take those dogs and divide it by it, you're never going to come out with a figure that's probably even 1%. So if they're ever going on statistically, we can prove that our breed is not a dangerous breed. Just by statistics alone, we can prove that every way you look at it, 99% of our breed is a safe breed because they're not deemed dangerous. They haven't had a bite. So there's no reason for them to ban this breed. There's no reason for them to discriminate against this breed. The only reason they are is because it's stereotypes and the way they think about the breed. And that's discrimination. And if you look at everything our country is founded on, is to be against that. Those are things that are unconstitutional. It's like, so when you're fighting BSL, you're fighting against discrimination. because there's nothing that can prove that our breed shouldn't be here. There's nothing to say that our breed is dangerous. It doesn't exist. It's completely the opposite. So, I mean, to fight BSL is a fight against discrimination, and that alone is the reason to fight it. But if you own the breed, I mean, you have to protect your dogs. I mean, your dogs will do anything. This breed right here is the only breed that I've ever encountered that would do anything for its owner. This breed lives and dies for its owners. I mean, there's no other breed that adores its owners like the American Pit Bull Terrier, the American Bully does, you know? No other breed. So this breed loves you, and you got to do your part to protect your breed. They're going to protect you. You got to protect them. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, you got to fight discrimination. You got to protect your breed. Yes, there's lobbyists. Yes, we're fighting cases right now. Thought we had Florida overturned, and then they came back and flipped it back around on us. We did get it, got overturned in Ohio. Little by little, people are waking up and seeing this, but it's one of these things that you got to fight, and you got to fight on discrimination, and you got to fight on statistics. If you own these dogs, you got to get out there and do something, because, I mean, it's unconstitutional.
What can the bully community do to help in this fight?
Number one, find a lobbyist. Find somebody where you are in your state, and get involved in government. When you hear that these things are coming about, get involved. I understand that people want to do rallies, and they want to do these petitions, and those things are fine, but those things don't get to the core. If you want to get to the core, you have to find out who the people are that are passing these laws or voting on these laws. That's really who you need. You need to find the people who are voting on these laws, which is public knowledge. Whenever there's a law that's coming about, stay alert and stay active. Go to the ABKC site. We update all the time on where these laws are going to be passed or where they're trying to propose these different laws. Find the people that are going to vote on these laws, and those are the people that you have to confront. Those are the people that you have to write letters to. Those are the people that you need to make phone calls to, and you really need to persuade these people and get them to understand that statistically there's no reason to have this breed banned. I mean, it's the easiest thing to fight on, and the fact that it's also discrimination. So you have to get to the people that are actually going to be the people voting on this, and that's where that's where I found you make your biggest difference. Outside of what we're doing with shows and showing the positivity of everything. That's the other side to this is, if you're an American Bully owner, you got to understand that, number one, this breed has been discriminated against for many, many years. If you just got into it, you might think, okay, it's not, because the world is growing now. We've done a lot to change public perception. We've done a lot to promote this breed. This breed does have acceptance in ways that it's never had before, outside of just ourselves as owners. So it is a lot easier now to own this breed than it used to be. The thing about it is, the breed, you're always fighting some type of discrimination somewhere. When you choose to own this breed, you're a representation of this breed. Once you become a representation of the breed, you have to be positive at all times in the face of the public, especially when owning these dogs. You owe it to the breed. If you're somebody that's going to do something negative, bring drama into this, anything that's not for the good of the breed, you're going to destroy the breed. You're going to be the reason the breed has its demise. You can't do that. I try to preach to people all the time. If you're in public, clean up after your dog. Introduce people to your dog. Take your dog places and show them how loving this breed is. Don't be somebody that's just in it for money and puppy milling and all these crazy things. That's going to destroy our breed. Don't be somebody that's in this for drama and negativity. That's going to destroy our breed. Once you own this breed, the best thing you can do is just be positive. You be a positive role model for your dogs. And that's all you have to do. That's the biggest fight that we can do, is just changing public perception. And that starts with you as a dog owner,
Do you think there'll ever be a bully show inside the nation's capital, D.C., one day?
I'm going to have one.
You're going to have one? You
We're
heard it first. You heard it first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be the first, but I'm going to do it because D.C. needs it. The problem with D.C. is DC's small.
Yeah.
It's not big. And it's hard to figure out where to have D.C., where to have it in D.C. It's not downtown D.C., they have hotels, but it's not accommodating for dogs. I've been down there looking at it. It's really not accommodating for dogs. Outside of Capitol Hill, I mean, you all know, you're a D.C. resident, you understand how D.C. works. Outside, it's not there, it's neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So it's really like D.C. is a government center, and then it's neighborhoods, really where things happen. Northern Virginia and Maryland, surrounding areas, those are the
Correct.
Easy areas to have it. So have it in the nation's capital, we're going to do it. It's just a matter of finding the right venue for it, and it's going to be hard in D.C.
Exactly. You now see the next generation getting involved with the breed, with the kids and junior handlers now. What are your thoughts on that? And how can we get more people outside of the bully community to come to shows and see our breed?
Well, that's two different questions.
Yeah, two different questions.
Having kids involved in it is the ultimate. I mean, that to me, that says it all right there. When you can have your kids out there doing something positive with breed, one, you're teaching your kids to be good role models. You're teaching your kids to be good dog owners. you're doing something good for your children. At the same time, you're doing something great for the breed, because anytime you can put kids and bullies together and it's a positive thing, I mean, nothing is more positive in my mind. And the children, that's the future of us. And it's one of these things that, to me, it's like, that's why the ABKC implemented the junior handlers. We're just trying to get the kids involved and let the public see that. So anytime you can do something positive with children and dogs, it's a great thing. It's a great thing for the breed. As far as getting it out there more to the public, that's one of these things. It's all in how you promote and where you promote. And what I try to do is, obviously, the internet and promotions like that, but I try to promote to people. That's why we brought in Save a Bully. Like you mentioned, ABKC brought in Save a Bully this year, because there's a lot of people that rescue these dogs and do something positive with these dogs, that wanted to come to events like ours, wanted an outlet for their dogs, just to do something fun and compete. So we created this class for rescue dogs, or altered, spayed dogs, so that they could come to the event. So having that at your shows, having Save a Bully, even if there's not a lot, advertising this to that community, the rescue community, shelters, talking to different shelters, talking to animal control. Animal control, people are afraid of that name, but if you're a good dog owner, that's your best adversary, is animal control. When they see that this is a positive breed and we're positive people doing something, they help you. They want people to do things like that. So when I do shows, I invite animal control. I go to the shelters, invite those things. I advertise to the community. I don't just advertise via Facebook or just advertise just to the bully people alone. No, I try to reach out to your community. So the best thing you can do is, when you're having a show in your area, reach out to your community. Find ways to bring people in from the community to see something fun and promote to the area, your surrounding area. Just try to get involved with your community.
Yeah, I guess that question came about thinking back my first show, that Spotsylvania show, where you had so many people come out who weren't even pit bull owners at that time, just coming out just to see what it was all about.
That show, I'll tell you, okay, that show was a defining moment in our breed. It was a great and horrible show at the same time. It was something that I did what I just told you to do. I told you to reach out to the community. Now the community is a little more accepting of these things. At that particular time, the community didn't understand. So I tried to reach out to the community and promote the American Bully breed. What happened is, part of this community didn't like that. They didn't want pit bulls in the area. They didn't want people coming from all these different places. They tried to shut me down from any which way they could possibly shut me down. I had a meeting, and I was summoned to a meeting. The venue was cool with it, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got this call. I had to meet with city council, the sheriff's department, animal control, the game warden, I forget what the other entity was that was there. And I talked to my venue, like, why do I have to meet with these people? It's a private venue. They're like, they're saying that you have to do this in the city. This show's in the city of Fredericksburg. So I went to this meeting, and when I got in this meeting, I felt like it was an episode of Footloose. I don't know if you ever saw the movie where they wanted to ban dancing and stuff. It was so backwards and unbelievable. I just couldn't believe some of the things that they were saying to me. They didn't want anything that would have had rap music. They didn't want anything where people of different ethnicities. They didn't want, and they said it to me in different ways, but they said it to me in ways where I understood what they were saying, and it was pretty bad. They didn't want anything that had to do with pit bulls. They didn't want anything to do with any of these things, and in their opinion, they thought it was all negative things. It was so bad that the newspaper wrote an article. They couldn't shut the show down. They shut down elements of it, but they couldn't shut it down completely. The newspaper wrote an article, and they compared the show to a murder that had happened here, where two girls were kidnapped and killed, the Lisk girls, and I guess at that time there was a movie out, and it portrayed that situation, and so the city here banned that movie. So they said, something to the effect of the city would, ban this movie, but yet they would still have this horrific event. And I mean, the way they portrayed the event was unbelievable, So I ended up having to fight with city council, fighting with the newspaper. What happened was, people were going to come out and petition and rally against the show, all these different things. The show went on, and it was a huge success. People came from all over the globe. Every single hotel in this area sold out. We estimated that it did almost $4 million in revenue to this city. But from hotels to food to the things people buy, gas, everything that people do, dinners, bars, whatever they do when they're in the area, from out of town. And nothing happened bad. There was not one bad incident. The show went on. It was a success. The police came in there. They brought in gang patrol in there. They brought animal control, taking pictures of the dogs. They tried everything. After the event was over, even though the whole build-up to it was horrible, once the event was over, the newspaper retracted their story, wrote an apology, wrote a positive article. Animal Control came to me and said, we can't believe how great these dogs are. It's unbelievable. So many Animal Controls go around buying T-shirts, doing things. The community was so happy for the revenue. The hotels thanked me. The restaurants, I had restaurant owners that thanked me afterwards. People came, like, we just couldn't believe how friendly all the people were, all the people from different states, how great the dogs were. So once it ended on a great positive note, and it changed the perception of that here in the community. And nobody wanted, like, they were trying to shut it down every which way. So that was something that was negative that turned into a positive, and we did it as the owners of this breed. We came together, we did something positive, and it was a great battle in against discrimination and everything else that we won. And since that time, these shows go on everywhere now. Like, you don't have the fight that we used to have. This community wants a show here again. I just so burnt, from doing that, because I thought every day they were going to shut me down. I lost probably 20 pounds. By the time I got to the show, I was probably weighing 120 pounds, because just the stress. The day of the show, the day before, they tried to tell me I needed a permit, and I had right before the office was going to close, I had to rush down there and sweet talk this lady and do all these things to get a permit. Then in the end, I didn't even need anyway. So, now, like I said, reach out to your community. Back then, that was a rough thing. But it's like doing things like that make it all worthwhile, that change the public perception. And those are the type of things that are going to make people accept us and accept our breeds. But the key is we have to be positive. It has to be a positive thing and end on a positive note.
With that being said, what's the one thing you love most about the bully community?
The diversity.
Diversity.
I just love seeing the diversity, man. That to me is the biggest thing. I just love seeing people come together, for a common bond.
With that being said, what's the thing you really dislike most about the bully community right now?
The people that get into it for selfish reasons. You get people that are in it for greed, for ego, people that want to be overnight famous, people that just want to breed dogs for money, people that just want a kennel name for fame, people that want to make themselves famous, people that are involved in drama and negativity and gossip and all this other crazy stuff. The thing I hate is people that are in it for selfish reasons. Those are the people that are going to destroy it, and those are the things that you can't be selfish in this. It's one of these things that it's a breed of dog that needs your help, and it needs you to do things for the breed positive. So when you're in it for a selfish reason and it's not for the good of the breed, you're destroying it. And that's the type of thing that I don't like. And those are the people that disgust me.
What's your thoughts on the DVDs put out about you?
I've seen good and bad. The thing is that if a DVD is ever really done, if it's done for a positive reason, I like it. If it's done for drama or controversy or something negative, it has no place. No matter what, all this thing, it's one of the things I've learned over the years is that I haven't done anything really negative. Like, I haven't mixed breeds. I haven't done any of these crazy things that people say. And I'll never harm a breed. I would never do anything. I'm not in this for the competition. I'm not in it for money. You know me. I just got home I'm left work today to do your interview. I work. These aren't things that I'm doing for selfish reasons. So unfortunately and fortunately, since I'm one of the people that helped start this thing and propelled this movement, I'm always somebody that's going to be targeted. And it gets old after a while. Like, I think that people, when they want to create themselves, they want to use me like as their leverage in negative ways a lot of times, and it's just like, there's no point in that. I'm not here for anything negative, and I'm not trying to take from everybody. What I've done is helped the breed, and it's helped everybody, even the negative ones too. It's helped everybody. Everything I've done has helped everybody do what they do. And the people that are successful in it, I've done things that have helped them. I've laid down foundations and done promotions and done a lot of things that have aided them in a lot of ways. So when they're coming back with some negativity and things like that, I don't got time for that, and the breed doesn't have time for that. Anybody that truly knows me knows, the people that really know me, not the people that claim they know me. They know that I'm a good, honest person that's just here for the good of the breed, and I don't have time for that. So the DVDs, it's like, if it's something positive, I support it, and it's a great thing. If it's something negative and meant to cause drama and things like that, there's no place for it in this breed. And people need to stop supporting that kind of stuff and get rid of that stuff. That's going to be the demise of what we do,
Going back to our earlier question, where we talked about the resistance of the American Pit Bull Terrier owners towards American bullies, why do you think there's such a resistance to accept exotic bullies as a breed when you don't get the same resistance about the Shorty Bulls?
Okay, well, there's a big difference. See, the Shorty Bull is a breed that they were trying to create, or they did create, not trying, I'm sorry. but they blended elements of different breeds together. I believe it was mainly the French Bulldog, the English Bulldog, and the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. A good bred Shorty Bull is a working dog. These dogs. I mean, I've seen videos of them flying through the air. You know what I mean? Like, they're incredible. A good Shorty Bull is an incredible dog, and it took them a lot of years to get that breed down. But they were striving to create a breed, not create a breed that was a deformity. They were creating a healthy, stable, working breed, and it is. It's definitely a harder working breed than the English Bulldog, which in my opinion, that breed had been ruined over the years because they kept breeding for more and more exaggeration. And you can only go so far with exaggeration before it becomes something, a hindrance on the health of the breed, you know. That's the problem with the exotic bullies. And I hate to even use the name because it doesn't even make sense to me. But they're not breeding for quality. They're not creating a new breed. They're trying to say it's a breed, but they're mixing in other breeds, so they're tainting a breed. It's one thing if you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to use an American Bully, an English Bulldog, or American Bulldog, or whatever other Bulldog or Mastiff or whatever it is that you're doing, and you separate yourself. You say, I'm going to take generations of blending these different breeds because my ultimate goal is to produce this breed. That's one thing. I can understand that. You know, it's a lot of, you know, it depends on what you're doing it for, but I can understand that. It's another thing to say, I want to change the look of something. I'm going to mix in another breed into something that's already an established breed. Regardless of what you think its ancestry is, it's an established breed now. So to throw in another breed to try to alter that, you're ruining a breed. You're tainting a breed. And that, in essence, you're creating a what? You're creating an impure dog at that point. So that I don't agree with. And you see that in a lot of these exotic dogs where they're breeding in French Bulldogs and I don't know, whatever else they're breeding into them. The other thing is they're not breeding for quality. They're not trying to enhance this breed. They're not trying to bring any positive attributes back into the breed or breed for it. They're actually creating deformities. A lot of these dogs, you see their feet are turned out real bad. They're very weak in the pasterns. They have horrible rears. A lot of these people, what they don't realize is they're actually breeding dwarfism. I guarantee you, check these dogs. A lot of these dogs have enlarged hearts. Dwarfism is something that's in our breed, and they don't even realize that. That's why you don't see these breeds living very long. They have enlarged hearts. They're dying within 3 to 5 years. Their lifespan. They're creating, they're breeding, and they're getting the softer, elongated palates in these dogs. You know, and what that does is it hinders breathing. A lot of these dogs are dying of heat stroke because they can't get enough air and cool the air in. You know, they're doing a lot of different things to the dog that's actually ruining the stability and the health of the dog. And when you see these dogs, like with their feet going out, their elbows out, I mean, these are dogs that are going to be dysplastic. They have weak pasterns. These dogs have severe deformities to them. They're not a characteristic of a dog that's just a look. That's an actual deformity. So you're producing deformed, unhealthy, unstable dogs, and in the process tainting the breed at the same time trying to pass it off as the same breed. So to me, it's like that's just a complete, you know, somebody's completely ruining something good, you know? So I don't support it. I don't respect it. And I think a lot of people are seeing that. It's like we took a lot of heat for changing our breed and called it the American Bully. But we took heat because we added substance to the dog. You know, yeah, they say, oh, you mix this, whatever they want to say. But the truth of the matter is, it's just we just added substance. But we took out some of the, it's not really drive. We took out the game aspects of the dog, where the dogs had that desire to be in combat, be competitive dogs. You know what I mean? And we took some of that out. We didn't remove all drive from the dog, but we took a lot of heat. But we still have a good, healthy dog. You know, it's just a bigger, bulkier style dog, but it's still a healthy dog if you breed a quality dog. Where these people who are breeding other dogs, they've gone to the other extreme to where they're breeding the health out of the dog, the quality out of the dog, and they're breeding a deformity. So I think it's good for us who breed good American Bullies, because the people that once looked at us because they didn't like the fact that we were breeding a different style now bypass us. They're like, well, those dogs are healthy. At least these are the problems. So it's good in essence for that, because they're now targeting on the dogs that are bad, but it's bad because they're being lumped in with the real American Bullies, and they shouldn't be. That's a mixed bred, deformed, some kind of mutation. There's something that shouldn't be, you know, and with no rhyme or reason. And instead of saying that they're going to create a new breed and have their own purpose, they're still trying to pass it off as this breed. So I think that's why they're catching the heat. And, you know, it's one of these things that I don't support, I don't respect at all. I mean, you're here at my home, my dogs are active. We're out in the elements. I like a dog that can breathe, run, do all these things. I mean, a dog is still supposed to be healthy, you know. It's not supposed to just live its life in a crate, you know what I mean, trapped in a basement somewhere, or, what I mean, like that. It's not, no, dogs are meant to live, they're meant to be with you. These dogs are supposed to be your road dogs, man. They're supposed to hop in the car with you, go with you. If you're going for a walk, they're supposed to walk with you, jog with you, go everywhere with you. These, they're your companions, They're not your collections, you know what I mean? They aren't collectors, These aren't things you're sitting on a shelf, These are companion dogs. That's what they're meant to be.
With that being said, going around the world, probably seen thousands of dogs. I always ask this question to people. Some people answer, some people don't. What's the best dog you ever seen?
That's hard.
It's hard to answer.
It's really hard because all that lies in the preference. I've seen so many good dogs, and me being a person that created my dog by trying to piece elements together, I see features in dogs. Like I was always looking for something, you know what I mean? So to this day, I still see a dog like, man, that's the ultimate head, you know what I mean? Or this dog's got the ultimate, muscle tone. Or so it's like I'm forever seeing dogs that have what I feel is a great quality. I can't just say that's the ultimate dog right there, because it all depends on what you're looking for. There's a lot of different preferences, and there's so many nice dogs nowadays. It's unreal.
You made me think for a better question. Better question then. If you could take the best characteristics of your favorite dogs and make an ultimate dog, what would it be?
I did that already. Cairo.
Cairo.
People, the thing about Cairo is they see puppy pictures of Cairo. The biggest mistake I ever made was not learning how to use a damn camera, man, because I'm just no good with a camera. And I'm one of these guys that I let my dogs run free, and I would just sit back, eat, have a beer, do whatever, watch my dogs be dogs. And I just admire the dogs, And I admire my dogs, but I've never been a photographer. So a lot of these people see Cairo, and I laugh at people like, oh, Cairo was a beast. It was an unbelievably impressive animal. There was rumors that his head was 28 and a half. The truth of the matter is his head was a true probably 25, 26. That's a big head. 24 is a big head, okay? He had, to me, the ultimate, just every element. That I like those big softball cheeks, the cheeks that stick out. I like that sculpted head with the defined stop and the chiseled muzzle, squared out. I like a certain type of eye. I like that eye with the arch over it that has a Paddington somewhere that threw that in my line. But there's a certain look that I like to a head, and I like every aspect of the head to be sculpted. The neck, my dogs have to have that. I was an Amstaff lover. One thing I love about Amstaff was that arch neck, that big arch like a horse, you know what I mean? Cairo had that big horse neck. I like to look down on the dog and see the split between their, the shoulder blades, on their back. I like to see the shoulders and the muscle tone of the shoulders when you look down on a dog protrude out, where you can see the build, not the elbows out, but the shoulder part, the muscle side of it. And then when you look down on a dog, I like to see it taper in and then do the same in the rear. I want that big, powerful rear. When you look at the side of the dog, I want perfectly straight legs. I want slight angulation to the rear. I want an undercut to the stomach. When I look at the front, I want a deep chest, but still somewhat broad. You know what I mean? So when I'm looking at a dog, I'm looking for every element to be there. And Cairo had every one of those elements. Cairo, truly in his prime, I would say was mid to upper 90s at top weight. He wasn't short, and I don't know heights these days. People are crazy. I don't even know how they measure these days. My dog's 12 inches. That, to me, I didn't know. 12 inches is like a wiener dog, So Cairo, in my opinion, was probably maybe 19 and 3/4, 20, I don't know. Which now people say 20 is like this tall. No, 19 to 20 was the average height of the dog. So he was a nice dog for that. But the thing about Cairo was he was protective. You could take him out in public. He was outgoing. He was a very powerful dog, very athletic. I think that might have been his demise because he would go right out here in the woods and chase deer. A lot of dogs are going to chase deer. Cairo would take off chasing deer. He had a lot of prey drive. He loved females, loved puppies. Puppies could do anything to him. Wasn't fond of males. He would eyeball males. He was definitely a dominant male, But the one thing I loved about Cairo is he had this, with all his power and all his drive and everything about him, he had this something for children. It's like as soon as a kid would come around, he would melt. And I remember taking the Cairo to dog shows, and when you would pass another male, Cairo had that, you could feel it in the leash. You could feel that he would stare a dog down, and you wouldn't hear the growl, but you could feel it, because he liked to intimidate males. That's just his personality, but not females, not puppies. You could give that leash to a child, and at the moment the child had that leash, Cairo would not look at any dog anywhere. He would his main focus was on that child. So he was 100% in tune with the child. And to me, that was like an ultimate. That's something that people don't even talk about with dogs. Talk about how impressive the dog was. Cairo was unbelievably impressive, but I can hand at least to a child, and the dog's personality completely changed. It was like his only focus was being and interacting with that kid. Kids could get on his back and ride with him. He would lay on the ground with kids. He would crawl. Like, you would lay on the ground and crawl across the ground and just do all kinds of funny little things with kids because he was a child lover, you know? And but still a powerful, crazy dog. So to me, like, man, that's the ultimate. When you get a dog like Cairo, that was it. And to me, that was the ultimate dog. Now it's hard for me to say that because I don't know all the personalities of the dogs, and there's a lot of things that I don't see and I don't know. So, you know, but there's never been a dog in my mind like that one.
Yeah, because that was actually going to be my next question. Who's the mascot for Razor's Edge today, in your opinion?
I mean, Cairo, Knuckles was the original. I mean, Knuckles was the first dog that when I decided what I wanted to do with my bloodline, I bought Knuckles and a bunch of his sisters. And I used those dogs. Those were going to be the foundation to my line because they had a body type. So in the beginning, Knuckles was the dog for Razor's Edge. Cairo was produced. Cairo became the face of Razor's Edge. Little Roe, after Cairo disappeared, Little Roe became the face of Razor's Edge. For many years, Little Roe was the face. I think right now the current face of Razor's Edge has been Little Rizzy. Little Rizzy's been the main dog for Razor's Edge for a while. Scrappy was one that I really wanted to. He's overseas now. So we'll see who's the next face. You know, right now I'd say Little Rizzy, but stay tuned. There's a new face coming.
Last question. What would you want people to know about Razor's Edge and the bully community on the whole?
The thing about Razor's Edge is it's not. Razor's Edge is one of these things that when I was producing dogs, I wanted people to have the best of the best. I was never one of these people that wanted to keep everything for myself. Razor's Edge has never been something that's meant to be self-centered. It's never meant to be Dave Wilson's. I know that Dave Wilson's name, my name, is thrown all over everything, but it's not meant to be. The one thing that Razor's Edge was meant to be was for everybody. And that's the way it was intended to be. That gets used against us nowadays a lot. Oh, this person. That was the concept of Razor's Edge. Razor's Edge was something that was meant to be for everybody. Didn't matter who you were. If you wanted to do something positive with your dogs, Razor's Edge was for you. So that's why we always produce the best dogs and let people get the best dogs. We didn't just hold them in-house. The best dogs went out. That's why the line grew the way that it did. That's why the bully movement and everything is the way it is, because our concept was always for it to be for everybody, not to be controlled or just kept with certain people. No, it was meant to be shared. And that was the whole concept of Razor's Edge. So I just think people need to understand that this was created for y'all. And it's something that I didn't do myself and I didn't continue to do. You all did it, you know? And you all need to have a lot of respect for it, and I have a lot of respect for you all because it's the people that have taken Razor's Edge and the American Bully to where it's gone that have done all these great things for us in the breed. So again, I mean, if you want to know about Razor's Edge, I mean, Razor's Edge was created for everybody, and that's the whole concept to it.
Follow up. Last question. Sorry about
All
that.
right, no problem.
Notice a new brand. We were talking earlier about the Razor's Edge, the Frenchie line. That's an understanding. That's a West Coast.
Yeah, Razor's Edge, the Frenchies, that's Cruz. That's my partner. I'm not partnered in the Frenchies. I'm a bully guy. You know what I mean? I just love my dogs. I mean, I have one Shorty Bull from Jamie Sweet that was given to us, and the reason we had it is because for the ABKC office, we wanted to have a bully and a Shorty Bull since it's the next biggest breed, and we got from the creator and one of the best dogs. That dog's not something that's here for breeding or anything like that. In fact, all that goes back to her. That's for the promotion of the Shorty Bulls through the ABKC. So we own a Shorty Bull, and it's a nice dog. But I don't want to breed other dogs. I don't want to get into breeding other dogs. I just want to continue my Razor's Edge stuff, and I'm just an American Bully guy. Frenchies, that's Cruz's project. He has some great Frenchies. He breeds same criteria for Razor's Edge. He's breeding the bullier style, but still functionable dogs. That's his thing, and they're great Frenchies. It's just I myself, it's not something I want to get into.
I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for talking with Zeb Pitts today.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for doing something positive too, man.